Well, once again, happy Monday to you, and I'm Marlin Bohling, your tour guide to the ag commodities. Let's dive into our futures trade, and we have already got a wild open going on here on a Monday. And I'm talking about the ranges. Now, it's not as bad in the corn market here. Things actually kind of tame, at least so far today. On the corn, we have September now 12 higher. We're at 645 and a quarter, now 645 and a half. But that's within 2 cents of its low of the day. Look at where we were for the high last night, up at 667. We're off of that by 22 cents now. December corn, 12 3/4 higher, but it's closer to the low as well. We're at 636 and a quarter per bushel. Now, moving on to soybeans. What's going on here? In August, we're now 13 3/4 higher at 1527, but that's off of its earlier high last night of 1552 3/4. We had a low today of 1517 and a quarter. We're a dime off of that. We have November now 12.5 cents higher at 1409 per bushel. But the gold star for volatility goes to the wheat market today. Check out September Chicago wheat. We had a high last night of 940 and a quarter, a low of 870 and a quarter this morning. That's a 70-cent range right there. And now we're at 871, within a penny of our low of the day. We're 20 and a half lower. My goodness, we were about a half a dollar higher overnight. How about the Kansas City market? Let's take a look at that one. In Kansas City, September, 16 cents lower at 929 3/4. We got within 2 cents of $10 overnight, and now we're at 929. Let's look at Minneapolis spring wheat. So what's it up to? We have September a nickel lower now at 986 3/4. Kind of the same story as what we saw in the other exchanges. Meanwhile, in our cotton market today, we have December new crop down 190 points at 93.73 cents per pound. And again, I want to reiterate what was going on in the dollar. Last time we checked, it was over 1,100 points higher. We're still up 989 points on September futures at 107.810. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of stuff going on this morning. And here to join us to talk about these markets, I welcome aboard Chris Swift of Swift Trading. He is based in Nashville. All right, Chris, we have a lot of consternation in the markets. We have a WASDE report coming out tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Does the market even care what the WASDE says? I understand there's a lot of developments in the weather outlook on the crops.
There is a plethora of rumors out there of everything that is hampering demand, is harboring supply, is hampering the supply as we move forward. So traders, as you saw last night, opened the markets really, really high on rumors of further destruction of the Ukrainian wheat crop there. Some issues here in the U.S. where some of the southern crops being chopped early for silage that was not intended to be planted for silage. And again, now we've got these 100-day heat going right into pollination.
So where are you talking about, where they're chopping for silage already?
Southern Kentucky. Really? Southern Kentucky. They have had some fields out there that have already been adjusted by the insurance adjusters, and they'll start cutting silage out of it.
So that decision was made before the rains came a few days ago.
Absolutely. Yeah, these rains right here are of no impact to them whatsoever.
Oh
and I'm hearing a lot of that as you move further west. So we know that we have been dry. We did get some scattered showers, but I think a lot more corn is going to be in this drought situation than what we may think.
And we still don't know what the acreage is.
Have no idea. Right now, we're 2 million acres shy of last year.
And then you mentioned something about Ukraine wheat as well.
Yeah, we've seen photographs and videos of the Russians flying helicopters over the wheat fields ready to be harvested and shooting the anti-missile flares down into them to set them on fire. And we saw that last week, and we've seen the wheat bump up ever since those videos started showing. We've seen more and more, and we know that Turkey turned away a shipload of Ukrainian wheat that the Russians were trying to sell. So it looks like that war is moving more into attrition, trying to starve those people out, than it is blowing them up. You've only got so much ammunition to blow them up with, but you can starve them out. That's where we're headed.
I'm almost speechless. I feel like I'm on a different planet.
It's getting bad. I mean, it's getting real bad.
It's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And then all the protests going on in the Netherlands.
Yep.
Wow.
No shortage of stuff going on.
Yeah, and we're just getting into the heart of the growing season, too. All right, we're going to take a break right here. We'll come back and we'll talk livestock with Chris right after this. All right, we're talking with Chris Swift of Swift Trading, and just to put a fine point on what we were talking about before the break,
Sure.
we were talking about they're actually chopping corn for silage in southern Kentucky and maybe some surrounding areas. We have a map that Tim Ross has for the temperature outlook for later this week. And that would seem to kind of reinforce that thought. There isn't a whole lot of relief, at least when you look at the plains. Look how extreme that heat is.
Sure.
And I don't know how much relief the corn is going to get in the western part of the Corn Belt. Of course, that'll be kind of to the west of Kentucky where the worst of it, but it's going to get hot there too. That does not look ideal for cattle production.
Well, it really doesn't. And what we've seen, the drought monitor kind of accentuates that just a little bit more to show how bad we already are and how much that heat will impact us to it. And unfortunately, just keeps that cow slaughter elevated. And we already know that we've got plenty of cattle on feed. We're at 99% of what we had this time last year. Our weights have gone down tremendously, so we are getting very current in the market. But the cow slaughter just continues with this kind of heat because there's nothing you can do about the pastures. You might be able to irrigate corn, but you can't irrigate the pastures.
So in my mind, we're continuing to more and more front load this cattle market.
Yes, absolutely.
Just bringing those supplies forward all the time.
Absolutely, we are. And it's going to make for a huge hole at some point in time. And that hole's already apparent. We can see that hole out there. But again, it's kind of being filled up right now with elevated cow slaughter.
So let's look at the prices then and just see what that spread looks like on the live cattle here. Interesting. We have August live cattle at $134.15. It's actually 20 cents higher. But let's go out. Where do you think that hole is most evident? In December or further out?
Well, it had to be beyond that because we know that the placements in June are going to be relatively heavy as well. So I think we go 5 months out from that. So we probably are going to have all the way into the fourth quarter ample plenty slaughter inventory. And then beyond that, once we see in July and August what those placements are, then we'll kind of be able to gauge when or if that's going to see that hole start to appear.
So look at the spread between the August at 134 and you go out to February is 149.80. You have April at 153.15. They're slightly lower out there, but man, that is already a big spread, almost $20 wide if you go out to April. And they're already banking on that hole in supply showing up.
Well, and you'll need every bit of it because the cost that they're paying for the feeder cattle right now in the corn, they'll need every penny of it.
Feeders kind of similar here. August feeders down $1.02. We're at 170.70, but the deferreds, look at that, 179 on the November contract, 179.45. Lean hog trade has been higher this morning, and you have the August contract now only 50 higher at 109.67. So we have come off of our earlier high by about 80 cents or so. October 45 higher at 94.45. But volatility just reigns supreme here in the ag commodity trade today. So fasten your seatbelt and be prepared for anything. Chris, thanks for explaining.
Always a pleasure, Barbara.
Appreciate that very much. Chris Swift of Swift Trading. Tammy, back to you.